Hey everyone, my name is Aadithya Srinivasan. I'm a rising junior based out of New Jersey, USA. I greatly appreciate the opportunity to be presenting in this conference, and today I will be talking to you about the applications of AI and ML in dentistry. So, first in this presentation, I will be talking about AI ML, their general categories and applications, as well as their usage in dentistry. After that, I will be talking about AI ML research and the best practices to implement your own AI/ML models. Finally, I will conclude with some AI-based dentistry tools for you to try out. So let me first start with what is AI ML? AI is the process by which computers simulate human intelligence. Machine learning is the branch of AI which focuses on how humans learn through the usage of learning algorithms. This field has the potential to transform various industries and professions significantly and has been recently growing exponentially. So, what are the common types and categories of AI ML? So while I'll be covering some of the types and categories, I won't be covering all of them, just the ones that are pertinent to dentistry. So the first type of AI that I'm covering is NLP, or natural language processing. And this is a field of AI that helps machines learn human language. Next is neural networks, a field which attempts to replicate the neural patterns in the human brain. So within neural networks are two subcategories, ANNs, which are artificial neural networks, and CNNs, which are convolutional neural networks. ANNs are typically used for predictions that include a lot of numerical data. Meanwhile, CNNs are used more for predictions that involve image data. Now, the two categories of AI ML I will review are supervised learning and semi-supervised learning. Supervised learning models learn from labeled data and apply it to predict future patterns. This is similar to giving a number of sample scenarios with known results and letting the machine learn how the various inputs are impacting the outcomes. Meanwhile, semi-supervised learning models use both labeled and unlabeled data for predictions in order to reduce the human bias. And this is a variation of supervised learning where sample scenarios with and without known results are fed to a machine, and this helps to eliminate human bias. So here's a little diagram comparing supervised learning, semi-supervised learning, and unsupervised learning, which I won't be talking about today. So supervised learning, as you can see, all the data given for training is labeled, and this is all fed to the model. Meanwhile, in semi-supervised learning, a small portion of the data is labeled, while a lot of data given to the model is unlabeled. This allows for the model to generate its own labels, essentially reducing a lot of the human bias. Now, this is a picture of how a neural network works. So the first layer, the input layer, is the data you pass in, and this is the different labels and input data. Then it goes through a series of hidden layers, which change this data and use some parameters to find out a result. Finally, it goes through an output layer in order to make the prediction. So what are some general applications of AI and ML? So for natural language processing, it's used in spam email detection, chatbots, and smart assistants such as Alexa and Siri. And natural language processing involves the fields of text to speech, speech to text, and everything in between. Neural networks are used in self-driving cars, fake news detection, face recognition, and more. Next, supervised learning models are used in predicting house prices, forecasting weather, customer detection, and a lot more. Meanwhile, semi-supervised learning models have been used in speech recognition by Facebook, web classification by Google, as well as document classification. So, what are the applications of NLP in dentistry? So, dental providers use speech-to-text technology to write their notes and access images hands-free. Additionally, a known clinic, the Mayo Clinic, uses an AI-based app to help patients to self-diagnose themselves and determine if they need medical attention. One example of an app that uses NLP is Patient Prism, which is a dental call tracking software. And this uses MLP to determine the reasons a patient calls in, requests services, and also identifies when and where they're booking their appointments. Next, let's look at the applications of neural networks in dentistry. A study by Agata Osovska, etc., found that neural networks were able to detect 93.6% of dental restorations from 83 panoramic images. Additionally, an ANN artificial neural network model has been used to predict post-streptococcus mutants based on pre-streptococcus mutants. In addition to that, CNNs, convolutional neural networks, which use image data, have been used to detect and label teeth from radiographs. And while there's a wide range of CNNs in the field of dentistry, most use panoramic radiographs to either identify, classify, or predict. And several studies found that models could be just as accurate as actual dentists. Next, I'll be talking about supervised learning models in dentistry. So supervised learning is a category of machine learning. Many of the previous applications are actually supervised models. And one specific example is a model which identifies and classifies dental caries, which is more commonly known as tooth decay. Another example is how researchers have used an artificial neural network model to distinguish between aggressive and chronic periodontitis. And because you have the two set categories, this is a form of supervised learning. And surprisingly, the automatic detection of teeth and dental patterns by a supervised learning model used to identify disaster victims had an accuracy of 99.1%, which is surprisingly high for a model. Next is semi-supervised learning models, and these models are not as common, but do perform better in certain tasks. One semi-supervised learning model was used to track the inferior alveolar nerve, the IAN. Additionally, semi-supervised learning neural networks have been used very often to perform teeth segmentation, and this is because they usually outperform supervised learning models. Semi-supervised learning models have also been used to classify tooth decay in rare situations. So a study that I'll be talking about in the next slide found that using semi-supervised learning models perform teeth segmentation better than supervised models from scanned dental arches. So as you can see here is a diagram displaying the ground truth, fully supervised learning model, and the result of the semi-supervised learning model. And as you can see, the semi-supervised learning model outperformed the supervised learning model in teeth segmentation completely. And this was a study done by Amar Al-Shagri in 2022. So what are some emerging AI research in dentistry? A study by Overall, AI ML is being used more and more commonly in the medical field, including dentistry. A study conducted by Harvard researchers found that ML tools can help predict tooth loss. The researchers used data from the NHANES, the National Health and Nutrition Examination Survey, for the training and testing data. And once they used an ML algorithm called gradient boosting trees classifier, they received an accuracy of 83.8% in predicting edentulosum. Additionally, NLP models are being made to find out why a patient decides to not schedule an appointment, and these could be used in order to find methods to win over more customers. And this helps more in the marketing and business side of dentistry, as AI models can help identify patient trends and places for improvement. Soon, AI could be used as a second opinion across even more dental fields in order to reduce human bias and combat human error. An example of a tool being used is Pearl, which acts as a second opinion and is powered by AI. And soon enough, AI will be able to come up with better treatment options and verify a dentist's results. So next, what are the best practices for implementing AI and ML? So first, make sure to use a relatively large and accurate data set, because in most cases, the more data, the better. Additionally, put effort into cleaning the data before training the models, and use several different metrics to evaluate the different pros and cons of a machine learning model. Finally, make sure to test the model to make sure it isn't overfitting on the testing data, on the training data. In other words, make sure it isn't too specifically tuned for the data it was trained with. And this is because it will lead to loss of accuracy when used in the real world. So why use AI and ML? Well, Pearl, which is a company that specializes in AI implementations through dentistry, commissioned a study which compares three dentists against an AI system. In the study, the three dentists agreed on the absence of tooth decay 79% of the time, but only agreed on the presence about 4.2% of the time. And this is definitely very unassuring, and this shows why a machine learning model would be very useful in helping as a second opinion. Additionally, the machine learning model outperformed the dentists, even when one dentist was using the ground truth, or the intersection between the other two dentists' notes. So, what are some AI ML tools you could use today? So, first, Pearl's second opinion product automatically detects numerous conditions in dental x rays, essentially providing dentists with a second set of eyes. And this includes detecting caries, calculus, margin discrepancy, root canal, and much more. Meanwhile, Overjet, a patient centric AI tool, finds a large amount of data when analyzing x rays. And because more data generally leads to higher accuracy, this helps the AI model and dentist greatly. Finally, the image you could see here is an image of Denti.ai. And this is a product which automates diagnostics and chartings. And it also uses speech to text AI to help dentists fill period charts. So, as a recap, AI and ML is the process by which computers emulate human intelligence. Two important types of AI in dentistry are natural language processing and neural networks. Two important categories of ML in dentistry are supervised learning and semi-supervised learning. Natural language processing is used to analyze speech and text, while neural networks are used to detect and classify different dental ailments. So, emerging research shows that AI can eventually serve as a second opinion to dentists across a variety of different items. And when implementing AI and ML, the best practice is to use large amounts of data, make sure the model is unbiased, and that it is not overfitting on your test training data. So, here are some of the sources I use. And with that, any questions? Thanks.